Good day, y'all. Hope you're well. Welcome back. You know, people have been asking me for Alliance War videos for a while, and I've just been slacking. You know, getting into war planning this past couple seasons has been very time consuming, but I decided to go ahead, unpack last season, and work through Alliance War from an officer's perspective. While we do it, we're going to learn, prepare for next season since the tactic's going to be the same. But effectively, our goal in any of these things is don't die. We do that by understanding the fight, champion interactions, the node interactions, the tactic interactions. We boost appropriately, we focus, and then we follow the process. And most of all, when those things go sideways, we don't panic. Now, I figured no better place to start than on my first death of the season. Missed the decks, didn't just hold block. Titania made me pay. I'm glad we got it out of the way. Next up, we're heading to a werewolf by night. I was definitely stressed about this fight. I looked into making sure I use shocks. He reduces poison. He will cause ruptures, so we want it to be rupture immune. So even though he's got some energy resistance, we go in with our shocks. And for this fight, I was very concerned about the unstoppable, so I brought the Toad synergy with Scorpion, which puts a slow on. But you're going to see in this fight, I was concerned about not much, because it really didn't even come into play. And frankly, through the rest of the season, I never used the synergy again, though you can know that it's there. And, you know, Werewolf's got weird animations. You can see there, because of the prolonged SP1, we wound up getting locked up on the route. This is going to push him to SP2, which I'm trying to avoid, and the taunt's going to help. But all in all, this is going to be a relatively smooth fight. Scorp doing Scorp things. You know, he was very key this season. We chose to ban him for those reasons. You know, his flexibility and his ability to block unblockable attacks. Specials, excuse me. And you can see it's really just make sure we outpace that SP1. Bait it out of him. He's more than happy to throw it. Everything stays up. And all in all, not a bad little fight. One werewolf down. Continuing down the Scorp train in War 1, we got a Stryfe on Hazard Shift. I was also concerned about this fight, given Stryfe can be very finicky. He definitely has some nuance when it comes to fighting him and how he can get with his SP1, the glance mechanic, him going cloaked and you missing him. Add in some unblockable specials, and yeah, it could be a problem. That said, Scorp is very good, and he proved very good in this season. That right there is why we boost. We want to make sure that we have appropriate boosts going on. Early in the season, I was definitely using invols. Later in the season, I burned through my advanced power boosts, and you'll see what's going on there. But, you know, the tactic it was pretty painful. In this case, you know, Scorp's got nice block proficiency, so it's really just take it, call it good. Make sure we don't get debuffs on us. This is the node that reduces your ability accuracy, so we don't want our parries to fail. And we just wait it out. Low and slow, just like barbecue. Make sure we get their debuffs up accordingly, throw our specials accordingly, and chip them down. Nice thing is, it goes fairly quick. Later this season, I run into someone else on this node set, as you're going to see. I don't know what will be in this video. Might be in part 2. And it does not go so pretty. Certainly not. I have the majority of my fights recorded for the season. I did miss a couple, but we'll cover that when the time comes. And there you see it. That is just so I could pay some more potions. All right, that's the path. That's one dead Stryfe. And now to the debut of my rank 5 Ascended Tigra. We got this Maestro on 49. And yeah, this was the first Maestro fight of War, of course. It's War 1. Tested it out a little bit. It's definitely a doable fight. And you're gonna see, I think we all know with Maestro, that things can go a little haywire if you don't do it in the right sequence. So we're gonna talk about that through the season because we've got this fight worked out now. But yeah, you'll see how this one goes. You can see already my senses are close to falling off because I accidentally got parried. There, I decide to go ahead and just take an SP1 to the face, panic, throw my special, back off, throw my other special, trying to get under control. Poor spacing, but I get away with it. Thankfully, he doesn't punish me. Here we are, my the glancing's on, so I'm no longer getting my neutralize up. So I'm just trying to make it back to a special 2. Bad spacing again. So I have fought Maestro in Battlegrounds to this point. Fairly familiar with this fight, but again, I'm basically just in full-scale panic mode based on how things are going. Again, poor spacing, but I get away with it, and I just missed the block. And there we have it. War 1, 2 deaths. Not pleased with that. It definitely was very frustrating. Particularly since it was only a rank 2 Maestro. You know, 500k health is nothing to scoff at, but this is a very doable fight for Tigra. Particularly boosted as I am. So it was a good learning opportunity. Definitely is going to be the ugliest Maestro fight of the season. But the key with Maestro is just to get him down quickly. Get him down before the glancing kicks in, before it becomes a pain. And you're going to see the second part is obviously going to go much smoother. We get the intercept there. I've stopped doing that as much, particularly on this node set, just for sake of not making mistakes and getting accidentally parried, as we're all learning in the BG season. And there you have it. So, a close one, but in the first war against the Latin American players, we pull out a 3 AB win. Lost 45, as you can imagine. And yeah, the introduction of the tactic, you know, was a little rough. Definitely some mistakes were made. But, you know, it was just the start. And there's nowhere to go but up from here. As a battle group, we did pretty solid. 13 ABs lost. Caused more on the defensive kills. I don't think we had any that were wasted ABs there. So my focus as an officer was always to just try and outscore the other battle group, minimize deaths. And, you know, there's our guys getting it done. So we're sitting at 1-0, moving on to War 2, matching up with an Asian ally. I'm sorry, I can't, don't know what they're actually called or any of that stuff. And here we're just picking up a Galan on one of the paths with our Tigra. And, you know, a Galan in war on a node set that allows you to Tigra basically just makes a Tigra snack. And that's what this fight is. It was pretty quick, just trying to bait that special. We get in, we do our thing, we do our counter, and it's effectively easy game, easy life. I've started canceling out of heavy into the special more, just because the AI has gotten so much more proficient at dexing out of the SP2. But, you know, no issue here. Easy squeezy. Moving on to 37 thing. This is a common placement. Our boy Grass took this a lot in BG3. He's much better than I am at dexing the SP1, so you're going to see in this fight, my focus is to dex the SP2. And we'll see how it goes. You know, Tigra does pretty well against thing, presuming he cooperates. Here I'm just trying to heavy counter, get my ruptures up, keep my neutralize going. Again, the focus is to go to the SP2. And really, see what I meant about canceling out of this heavy? That has just been going on too much. There, he got to 15 rock stacks, so I needed to go ahead and bait that special and just take it. Because, yeah, we don't want to have any issues. Back off. Let the protection burn down while we're throwing the SP2. Get the SP1 cycle. It's pretty quick. We make it. Whew. Just in time. It's a close one. All right, you can see we got the boosts up. This is a Doom, I'm pretty sure on 45. So it's Shock Bleed, Conflictor. And, you know, Scorp's going to do Scorp things. He does this fight pretty well. Sticking with the poisons. I know you can mess around with that a little bit, but no big deal. And we just want to make sure that we're keeping this Doom off of our back. Get him to throw some specials. We want to keep the aura off him, if at all possible. You see me just take it. I don't want to mess with it. I'm not feeling confident in the moment about dexing the SP2. But, you know, I'm hit and miss with it. So, after all, I promised you nothing more than mediocre gameplay. Throw the SP2, get some healing going. Thankfully, it doesn't push him past. I thought we were pretty safe. Take the one hit, do the dex. It's a pretty smooth fight. You know, Scorp does good Scorp things. Now we don't mind baiting the SP1 because he's got the Petrify up, so we'll avoid the aura. No real concerns about this fight. It's just low and slow. Make sure that we're focused on execution. Don't let him get the better of us with anything dumb. We'll do all right. I'm backup, so a lot of times I'm taking my fights much later than everyone else because I'm waiting to make sure everything is coming together, and I'm kind of piecing together, you know, teams to try to fit in for minis. Easy squeezy, and we're back to a Maestro on 49. We got the Ascended Tigra. We learned our lessons from the last match, so we're going to take a slightly different approach. Certainly going to focus on not panicking, bait the heavies, counter the heavies, keep the neutralize up. Thankfully he doesn't dex out of that one. You can see what we got going on. Boom, we're getting power back. He throws a special one here. Now, you can phase that and get a bunch of power, but it puts you in a weird spot in terms of your spacing. That said, it's a pretty good tactic, but it's not going to be essential here. There it is. But you can see a fairly substantial victory, won by a little over 20 ABs. You know, they did well. Our defense held up. But, you know, it was a nice kick. It felt good getting after the first war, having a better performance. This will be the best performance that we had as a season as a battle group. We only lost 7 ABs, 7 deaths. It was pretty solid. I obviously didn't die. You're going to see plenty more of those. But, no, the grind continues, man. It was a good opening. After the 2-0 start, moving into War 3, taking on the Vietnam team. And we've faced these guys plenty of times. They're a very good alliance. In this case, we're just going straight to the minis, no path fights. And we're kicking it off with Storm on 39. And I love using Warlock for this fight. We get the boosts going. Make sure we got an APB, Advanced Power Boost. And you're just going to see what kind of excellent work Warlock makes of these fights. We had someone go in. I was assigned to this fight, but they decided that they were going to take it. And you can see that they obviously paid the price. So that was a bummer, but you know, it happens. It was a lesson learned, and I can guarantee that that individual didn't do it again. For this fight, is basically going down from here. Warlock doing Warlock things. Cycle our SP2s. Easy game, easy life. Make a death. Let's go. We're gonna continue the Warlock train. Take Killmonger over on 40. It's the Burden of Might node. And we still got the boost going. You know, Warlock does a good job against Killmonger because he puts the armor breaks on. And, you know, it's a big Killmonger. It's a little bit of a tricky node. But as long as we get to the SP2, we'll be in a good spot. Get healed up. This was a very, very potion heavy season. I didn't really fret about it. You know, I'm committed, particularly as being the primary planner for BG1. You can't really sit and mess around with potions or whatnot. Not try to save for loyalty crystals, who cares? We spend what we need to get the victory. I think I only bought one of the unit packs when they released the potions for units. But yeah, it was expensive. We kick off, that's perfect. Now, unfortunately, I dexed, so I lost some power. So that was not perfect, but I was trying to get him started without putting a debuff on him because I don't want to take reverb damage. So, you know, hit and miss. The nice thing about Warlock is as soon as you hit a debuff on them, they are going to be regenerating, which means you'll be power draining, which means easy squeezy. And check it out. We get back to our SP2. Boom. Crushing. Warlock. Just a powerhouse for the season. It's a shame to see that he's on the blacklist. Now, let the comedy of errors begin. So as you might have noticed with the Warlock, I'm running recoil right now. have suicides up. I'm going to have suicides back on later in this war. So I decide to go ahead and just try to take this silk fight on hazard shift 43, the one with defensive ability accuracy reduction. And I think I'm going to outsmart this node, and I'll be able to do it. And I'm going to tell you right now, mistakes were made. This was not a very smart decision. I'm trying to avoid getting more debuffs on me. And now let the Prowess build, but the intent is to let those build in the off, well, I can't hit her, and then hit her enough to remove them so she can start throwing specials. You can see, man, first off, she's hitting like a tank through the block. It's brutal. Secondarily, we are losing the health battle right now. My parries aren't sticking, you know how Kabam's math does. 15% ability accuracy reduction means it's not going to work. So, not going so hot. We get the block here, you see it, and just taking the block damage, death. And ladies and gentlemen, we're just getting started. So I pop back in. Now I will say, at this point in time, we were at a decent position in the war, so I wasn't particularly stressing it, but was just trying to get in, get this silk down. And I said, okay, some mistakes were made last time. Don't push her to the SP2. It's going to be too much. So, again, I'm being a little bit of a cheapskate and trying not to switch my masteries, which I should have just done. But we chip along, and we get here, and I haven't gotten an intercept. I haven't gotten a taunt up. Go ahead and get the taunt up, throw the SP1. Now we're gonna try to bait specials, and you know how that goes. We do okay. Get it out of her. So we're getting there. We're getting there. She's down now. We can just have some good gameplay. We might be able to save some attack bonuses and smash to the face. So there's our second death. Awesome. Not going so great. Let's keep going. All right? This comedy of errors can't stop now. Look how much health she has. There's no calling in reinforcements. At this point in time, I was basically committed to the third death and wasn't going to sink potions into this to save an attack bonus. Again, we were in a decent spot. It wasn't hyper critical. And yeah, I figure, I probably am going to die again. Well, let's just see what we can do. I've got the regen boost up, combat regen. Try to save some potions because I was planning on using Scorpion after this fight, which you'll see. And, Silk doing Silk things. Silk is one of, if not the single most difficult defender in this meta. You can see there, boom. I never get to my SP1, never get the taunt up, taking unblockable specials to the face. Sweet. So we keep going. This was definitely a painful lesson. It's painful to rewatch right now. We did better with Silk later in the season. We came up with some different methods. This is good placement. Definitely a little bit of a trickier one. But yeah, lessons learned. Another factor that I learned here, and it's going to be in the next fight too, is that at certain times, depending on the health pools and nodes, Scorp's damage just doesn't quite get you where you want to go. And that was interesting. I expected him to do better in some of those instances, this one particularly. Oh, you can see I don't crit her there, so she just dexes out of things. And so that's a bummer. So there's no taunt. And here I am, basically in the death spiral. And that death spiral is right there. So it's amazing. Most of this video is going to be me dying. Just because those fights took so long. But we continue. We continue. We're almost there. Maybe another couple minutes. Just kidding. Yeah, not optimal, man. Not optimal at all. Currently, I think we're thinking Chi has been one of our best Silk counters. We also did a good amount of work with Red Skull. And as good as Scorp is, he's got his time and place. And it's not trying to dash in to Silk's heavy, like you saw there. So from the planner's perspective, many lessons were learned in this sacrifice of deaths. Suboptimal, for sure. I probably should have sped this up, but I figure you guys should just live through the pain with me. Again, we're just sticking back, trying to get to the shock phase. She's, you know, building her prowess, doing her silk things. We get cornered, trying to get out of it, but I can't parry. Nothing's working, and more death. So, the primary lesson out of this fight, take off your suicides on this node. It's not going to do you any good. Shuri would have been a better option here, for sure, because we don't have to worry about our ability accuracy being reduced. Right here, we're just trying to get the infection up. You see, man, you just take a hit and immediately we got stuff going on. But Warlock is going to finish this off for us. Warlock doing sweet Warlock things. Now we move on to Spot over here on 47, which is the Falter node. He's only going to lose half his power from heavies. You can see that we have potioned up, and the plan is just to SP1 spam with Scorp in this fight. And it goes okay, but Spot is also kind of a menace. You know, unlike watching some of the gameplay of the top tier guys, you know, your Bitters and all those guys, Finns and 4 Loki guys and all that, I, you know, don't have a great skill set when it comes to dexing stuff in the block. Now, that said, you see, we got there. He just launches 2 SP1s right off the bat. It's a good spot. We're winning the health battle. So it's not going terrible. Now we're in a little bit of a danger zone because he is going to cross a bar of power before I am going to be able to do that stuff. And there you see it. Indestructible boost gone. He has an unblockable special. He also is untouchable. So I just got to chill for a minute and reset. Okay, but we're still okay. We can still manage this fight. And that's really what it is, man. War is just managing fight by fight, moment by moment. Here we go. We got the taunt up. We're blocking. We're doing all right. Got to keep it flowing. Throw the SP1. Keep the taunt up. We got a good amount of stuff up. And that was the crucial mistake. I tried to dex out of the last hit. And yeah, trigger the untouchable and death. So again, I should have just taken the hit on the block. It was dumb of me to do that differently. And I paid the price, man. Massive crit. Takes me almost all the way down. And then it was just a matter of time. So I just decided to go with the Warlock. He's tactic. I know I can get intercepts and stop stuff. And, you know, really, my goal is to go with the Warlock approach of not to let my opponent get to a special as much as possible. And Warlock does that great. You get the infection up, you start the parry heavy, and you have a good time. Here, I probably shouldn't have been so risky at pushing him past that bar of power, but it works out okay. We're just going to do our thing. I don't know why he missed. Oh, I had the Falter up. He had the Falter up. Throw that SP2. He's getting close. Hoping for a fat heavy, and we get it. And Warlock doing Warlock things, great thing. All right, back to Tigra versus Maestro on 49. The reason we were running suicides is this was a rank 3 Maestro, so I was very concerned about being able to do the damage I needed to get him down. And we'll see how that goes. I'm also planning on using Tigra for the Onslaught boss, and we will see how that goes. But you can see Tigra, man, especially start putting those boosts on. The damage is just so good. The glancing is up, so we're no longer getting our neutralize up. There we go, we get that, but I throw the SP2 as the senses expire. So here we go. We've hit the danger zone because here we are. We're about to start, you know, there's brute force involved. We're stuck. We're trying to get him down. We get the heavy bait. We get the heavy counter. We throw the SP1. We're right there. and we just eke it out. Woo! It was close. And we decided to test this out. We know that Onslaught can't miss, but him being on the boss node, I was pretty confident that Tigra would build power quickly. You can see he's friendly at first. He just does one hit in the block, throws that heavy. We get a nice big SP2 in. You see right there, man, we just gotta do that again, right? Back it off, he's hitting into the block. We're doing a lot of heavy counter. Again, the buffs from the node on the boss node are very helpful, and that's gonna be game right there. Onslaught boss, down. Tigra, goated. Let's get it. So, outside of the Silk fight, it was a good war. Now, despite my lack of concern earlier in the war, you can see that it did wind up being very close in the end, and that Silk fight very well could have cost us a lot. So definitely took the lessons from that. Thankfully, it evened out. Things went okay. And, you know, closing out the Onslaught boss got us where we needed to be. As a battle group, it was a solid war. We lost our 14 ABs, so our technically worst war of the season, but our defense held up well. Team's doing well. Again, some more lessons learned with this new tactic, especially at this time. People didn't realize how OP Silk was going to be. So, you know, could have been better, but we're 3-0. So far, I've had 14 fights, 12 minis or bosses, and I've lost 6 attack bonuses. So not a great start, but, you know, serviceable. That concludes Quarter 1, Alliance War Season 46. Appreciate y'all hanging out. I do want to give you some of the officers and planners' perspective. That's my intent in these videos. So if you have questions, please post them in the comments. I'll get back to all of you. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll look forward to seeing you in Quarter 2. Until next time, peace.